Shelly15 from Texas asks,
what are some things you should not do in Korea?
wow, this is pretty easy.
Very easy.
Murder.
Buying Japanese electronics.
Spitting on people's faces.
Kicking kitties.
Stealing babies.
Setting villages on fire.
Criticizing Super Junior.
And the last thing is that you're not supposed to not watch our videos.
You could be arrested, punishable with death, many bum smacks could happen.
Very taboo.
I mean, you guys are okay because you're watching, but what about your friends and family?
Have they subscribed to our videos?
What are you gonna do for them? I feel like this list could go on forever. Maybe they mean something more specific. Yeah, let's start with some cultural things.
Okay, so one of the things that you should not do in Korea is walk with shoes inside the house.
Our very first day in Korea, we came off of a 14-hour airplane flight, 6 hours of waiting at the airports. We get to our new office tell, and we're with our co-teachers.
We're floored,
Yeah.
we're exhausted, we didn't sleep at all on the plane.
But when we came into the house, we walked right in with our shoes, and right away they're like, what are you doing? You have to take your shoes off! And we're both like, ah, like backpedaled.
So we learned very quickly that that little foyer means take off your shoes immediately.
Yeah, and they have the same thing in a lot of restaurants as well. Like if you're sitting on the floor, you'll see all these little slippers and shoes. Take off your shoes. If you step on there with your shoes, it is such a bad thing to do. Okay, another one would be sitting in the elderly or pregnancy seats on the subway. It's not necessarily like, you know, some huge thing that you're gonna go to jail for or something.
No.
But there aren't really like a lot of signs. There's just like a tiny sign.
Right.
So a lot of people will just get on the subway and sit down. And if you sit there, you might get like either a massive stink eye or someone might yell at you.
There's like the ajushi and ajumma police, like the old people will like scold you if you're sitting in that seat. So do not sit there unless you're dying.
Yeah.
And even if you're dying, think twice.
So while we're talking about subways, I think we should talk about buses and subways. You've got to be careful about using your loud foreign voice.
Not your teacher voice.
Yeah, if you talk loudly on a bus, especially like an inner city bus that doesn't have a lot of people talking, people will shush you.
We've got shushed lots of times.
Not me, Simon, of course.
Well, I have the booming man voice.
Yeah. Now this is kind of a funny situation because if you're on a subway, you'll see a lot of like ajushis and ajummas talking on their phones, and they're like 4 times louder than us.
Yes.
But because they're older,
They have
no
that
one,
right.
no one will say anything. But because we're foreigners and we're young and we're loud talking, we will get shushed.
I can't wait till I become an ajushi so that I can start being like loud and like sit wherever I want and be like, what you gonna do about that, punk?
Okay, there are a lot of food and drinking customs that you should not do, but I think that should be reserved for like a separate video.
Totally different video.
Let's just talk about something simple with food. So if you're eating with a bowl of rice and you have chopsticks and you don't know where to put them, do not stab them into your rice.
You can put them anywhere else on the table, just not in the rice. Stick them up your nose. It'd be better than sticking them in the rice.
Don't do that. That Simon is incorrect about that.
How do you know?
Sticking them up your nose is awful.
I've tried before.
Oh gosh.
It's like boogers. And the last one we're going to talk about is hand gestures. Whenever you call someone over, never do an underhanded like this or a finger
this.
pulling over. Whenever you want to call someone, you have to like doggy paddle them over like this.
Now you don't have to do like, you know, the full like shoulder.
But you don't have to like
crawl.
full swim, but it's like you could call them over this way, but never with your palm facing up.
Yeah.
Your palm always has to face down.
This is kind of like reserved for animals, like dogs, and so it's really insulting, especially if you're at a restaurant and you're like calling over a little grandma. If you're like, oh, come here, or Yogi-O, that would just be like, whoa, so rude.
And I don't even understand why this is reserved for dogs because like Spudgy does not come here at all like this.
No.
Like only thing that brings Spudgy over is food. Here's a bone. Who wants a bone?
And then he comes running.
So don't dangle bones in front of ajummas if you want them to come over.
Now there are so many things we didn't talk about, like traditions and customs, especially with drinking, but I think that this needs to be a totally separate video. We just wanted to prep you guys for like basic social things that you don't learn about maybe in a book, and maybe next time if someone asks about it,
Maybe.
we could do a video about the drinkings and the hand gestures.
Oh.
Don't do this.
So that's it for this week's TLDR. If there's a question you want us to do for next TLDR, leave your question in the Google Moderator page.
Or check out the questions already asked and you can vote them up or vote them down.
And don't forget to subscribe for more TLDRs.
And don't forget that we're doing these every second week now.
And don't forget to put on your pants before you go outside.
And don't forget to floss and brush your teeth.
And don't forget to never say anything bad about Super Junior.
And don't forget to read a magazine, not a book. Oh, that one screwed up big time.
Whoa.
Oh, we were on such a good roll. Ugh!